All right, well, hello, folks. This is Jaime Oikle from RunningRestaurants.com, where we give you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. Today, I've got a great 5 questions with episode for you with Tara Jacobsen, Managing Director of Johhny's Italian Steakhouse. We're going to talk all about her career growth with the company, starting as a server and progressing to Managing Director. And I'm really looking forward to getting into it and hearing more about it. Tara, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
Awesome. So, Tara, let's start at the beginning. How did you get into the business, and then how did you end up with Johhny's Italian?
Well, I started with Johhny's because I was looking for a different career path. I worked at another restaurant at the time and had a friend that worked for Johhny's Italian Steakhouse. She kind of loved it, so I went over and started working for them. After 2 years or so, I had a manager that saw potential in me and asked if I'd like to be help out as an hourly manager, just part-time off and on, serving at the same time. About 6 years after that, she promoted me to being a full-time salary manager, and so I started running things with that. And about 2 years ago, I started over as the managing director at Johhny's Italian Steakhouse.
Yeah, I think what I think is awesome about that for folks listening is Tara started as a referral from another employee who was happy at the restaurant. And so if you're listening to that and you're thinking, how can I get my next great managing director of my restaurant? It could start from referrals from your existing people. So I really like that as a piece. But I want to talk about that first promotion that you got, because it's a big change in mindset going from part of the team to a leader of the team. So how did you feel? What was it like? How did you get those first experiences and maybe management jitters out of the way?
Well, honestly, I didn't see myself as being a leader at that time. I saw myself as I'm a good hard worker. I do my job. I do it well as I possibly can. And somebody saw potential in me that I didn't see in myself. So when they asked me, they wanted to develop me into more of a manager, and I kind of use that as an example too. I look for tiny qualities for people that they might not see it in themselves, but I see somebody that could be developed into a leader.
Well, I kind of want to stick there for a second, because you may not have seen it in yourself. Somebody did see it in you. You were probably getting really ingrained into the culture of the business and so forth. They believed you were ready to take the next step. Did you jump right in? Did you read a book? Did you get some other training? Like, how do you lead your first meeting? What do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely. I kind of jumped right in. They took a lot of time with me, made sure that I was completely comfortable before just letting me go. And that's what I really appreciated. There were times like when I was closing in the restaurant and I had questions, or maybe some of my paperwork wasn't going right. And my manager that was above me, she would honestly come in late at night when I'm trying to figure things out. And she kind of held my hand through the entire process of it all.
Sure. Yeah, you gotta have key people there. And now I want to talk about where you are today and your role as a managing director, which can be all encompassing sometimes in our business, where you have to wear several hats. So what are your key responsibilities today? And then specifically, how does that relate to staff development and as you grow your team there?
Well, I supervise over the entire restaurant, and it's growing the kitchen, the front of house, just the small, every little tiny key parts. I help out with growing and building the sales. And with that, with the staff, I'm involved with their training, even though I've got key managers where I say that you're kind of in charge of that. I oversee the managers and make sure that they're still fulfilling their parts, like the bar, the training, the food cost, bar cost, all of those things.
Quick question for you. I had an interview recently, and we talked about that training piece for a new staff member. How do you think about it? Someone that's brand new being brought onto your team. Some folks are literally thrown just on the floor in some restaurant situations in life. Of course, that's not optimal. How do you guys bring someone on board? What do you think is some good best practices as it relates to that?
Well, I think it kind of starts with the interview process, because when I'm interviewing people, I make sure that I give them the background on the company. I make sure that I let them know that this is a company that if you want to start and if you're thinking about making this your career, then this is the company to stick with. So they've already got that in their mindset that that we're serious about it. And I already explained our training. Honestly, our training is not easy. I've had people tell me that when they were in school, they did less studying and looking up of things. So we want to make sure that they've got the tools that they need to be able to be on their own. So it's kind of a step-by-step process of anywhere from a week to 2 weeks, depending on their schedule, of working with them through every single day. You're going to go over this. They've broken the test down to 7 different tests that they take on the food to make sure that they have a generalized understanding. And if they don't pass that test, we kind of go over it again. We don't just drop people right then. We want to make sure that we're giving them everything to succeed. And it's very rare that nobody doesn't make it through.
Right. I like to hear that. I wrote it down. Training is not easy. That's good to hear. It shouldn't be easy. And the fact that they go through 7 tests is really good. One of the things I either read or saw somewhere that you guys do, and I really think it's a good practice for every restaurant to do, is the pre-shift meeting. How do you think about pre-shift? What do you guys cover? How much time do you spend? Who's involved? What do you think?
Well, normally it's pretty quick because it's happening right as the dinner rush is starting or right as the lunch rush is starting. And what we do, it's kind of part of the Johhny's culture. We call it queue time because it's us setting the stage. Our servers are not called servers. We call them performers. Our hosts are called stage managers. Everybody has their own little title because you're here to come and act and put on a show for your guests. It's an experience. It's not just come and do your jobs, what do you want type of dining. So with that pre-meeting, we're going over any features, food that we have for that night, whether we might be low on a product or there's a product that we need to push a little bit more. If we're having drink features, or just to let them know reservations, what we have in-house, if we have any banquets, areas that need a little bit more cleaning at night, or if we're and also just to bolster them. Let them know different great things that have happened. I'll bring reviews that I get from online, and I'll bring the reviews up and I'll show them, or we'll read reviews as to what people have said and commend whoever got that reviewing. Just kind of building them up to get ready for the show. I mean, it's the way to go.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of different things you can integrate into a meeting, and I think that's important. Is it doesn't have to be long or lengthy or crazy, but I think it's very important. And for folks listening, use that as a tip to do it every day, and maybe not thinking, oh my gosh, I need to put together 30 minutes every day, but pull out a couple of things where you can get with your staff so that everyone is on the same page and you guys are ready to rock and roll. So I think that's great. I want to talk about the idea of showing appreciation. And there's certainly a lot of ideas that can be implemented in a restaurant to do this. I don't know, what do you think are some specific ideas that you've either run with or you've seen be successful to kind of motivate the staff, to show appreciation? What do you think?
Well, one of my ideas is that, or I think it's mainly other people's idea too, is that happy workers, they're going to work harder for you. They're going to stick around. They're gonna be better at their job because they're more motivated, they're upbeat. You notice when somebody's not happy, they're drugged down, they're moving slower. Just as kind of a specific example, I had a performer she was a little self-conscious and had self-esteem issues, and she'd get really down over small things, or she'd make small mistakes constantly because she was also feeling down about her performance. And just having little meeting with her and telling her strength when she has problems. So just having a meeting with her on that recently, the last couple of weeks, she's been shining brighter. So it's just a way of showing them that you like having them around. And I try to tell people constantly that you're here for a reason. You're not here just because we needed a body on the floor. You're here because you're the best.
Sure. Have you used awards or giveaways or tokens or gift cards? What do you think?
Absolutely. We'll do even just fun times. I'll post stats as to how everybody's doing, whether I've got a report that I can show if they've got some great check averages or their tip averages and things like that, and just randomly throw out things that we've got. Or somebody does a great job or helped me out one day. Hey, dinner's on me, lunch is on me. just off and on trying to show your appreciation through that. Yeah, they absolutely love little tiny things like gift cards and things too.
Yeah, I want to echo that idea that it doesn't have to be a big thank you $500 gift, something small, thank you card with a $15 gift card, or buying a meal. Those little things, and then I wrote that down. Happy workers work harder. Absolutely true. So good tips there. And please, folks, show appreciation to your staff. They're working hard, and they want to know that you believe that they're doing a good job. So as we wrap up, let's go back in time a little bit. And imagine you were talking to your younger self, or even just somebody getting started today, right? And you have all this advice as you transition from server to managing director and had promotions. So really the point is, some folks get into the business to make some money. It's part-time. They're not thinking their full career. And yet, much like yourself and many others, it does become a full career, and it can be. So what would you say to someone just getting started that may be showing some interest in, hey, this could be something they want to do long-term? How would you share your story? What would you say?
I would probably just, I'd probably tell them their good points. Like, have you noticed this about yourself? Because I don't think that a lot of people notice their qualities, that they're a leader. Have that discussion of, you do great with your tables on this, or I saw that when you were helping out this other employee, you were doing a great job with it. Have you ever thought about wanting to do management? Just kind of planting that seed first, letting it grow a little bit, and from there, maybe see how they are with other responsibilities. Start them off with putting them in charge of doing training with other staff members, or small little responsibilities that are extra. Say I have a meeting that I have to go into. Do you mind watching things for a little bit, for 5-10 minutes, and then I'll come back and ask them, how did everything go? Did you have any issues? Just tiny responsibilities that would build up to something more. And then when a position becomes available, ask them how they feel about that, and talk about the training as to how they would be developed into something more.
Good tips there. For again, I'm just gonna I write down notes, and hopefully if folks are listening, you could do the same. But what I pulled out there that Tara does well, it's a good idea, is notice their qualities that they're doing well, and acknowledge it. Plant the seed. I like that. Plant the seed. So it's not like out of the blue you're asking them to be the manager. So like they can start thinking about that. Oh, that is a potential for me, and I think she's seen that from her own ability, her own story. And then small responsibilities, absolutely, yeah. They get their little taste of it. It just for some reason made me think about when you're a captain of the ship and you need to step away and someone else has to step in, and who knows, 2 seconds later it could turn into an emergency, and you have to be ready to deal with that. So yeah, give people little doses of a taste of that. So really good stuff there. I appreciate that. As we wrap up, tell folks how they can learn more about Johhny's Italian, where they can find you guys, etc.
Absolutely. We are found on Johnny'sItalianSteakhouse.com. You can look at all of our properties, our menus, look at our franchising things on that, because we started franchising a few years ago. We also can be found on Facebook. So
absolutely, check them out on Facebook. They have a terrific looking website. So folks, that was Tara Jacobsen of Johhny's Italian Steakhouse. They have, I believe, 12 or so locations throughout the Midwest, and they're expanding with some more. So definitely get in, find them. You'll definitely have a great meal. It is Johnny'sItalianSteakhouse.com. Absolutely do that, and then you can find them on social media as well. For more great restaurant marketing, operations, service, people, and tech tips, stay tuned to us at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Tara.
Bye. Thank you.